This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
It is Stacey Cole and Carol Hughes. I called you by the right name today. Go figure.
That's okay.
I listened back to our previous episode where I called you Cheryl.
Which made me laugh since that's my sister's name. So if you want to call me Kathy or Cheryl or Carol or Cindy, any of those, I'll answer to.
Okay, well, that's just bizarre, and I won't do that to you because I know what your name is. It was just a weird day, I guess. Oh my goodness. This is our second go around now at this version. We were talking before my internet dropped. We were talking about going on vacation because Tony is on vacation this week, and you're filling in. And you started to tell a wicked little story about how you had stayed in a hotel, and I don't want to rehash this because I know it's going to take over an episode.
It would.
And we don't have time to talk paranormal, but you said you'd stayed in a hotel that you actually had to leave because you got a bad vibe from it.
Yes. And it was the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, and it's one of the most haunted hotels, they say. And it was just too much. And at midnight we left. And the funny thing was, when we left at midnight, we went down to the front desk, gave them our room key, which is like an old school key. They do not have those fancy cards. So we gave them the key back, and they just are like, thanks. No, like, is everything okay? Why are you leaving at midnight? So I'm like, so we walked out the front door. I turned to my sister. I said, well, obviously that happens all the time here. But
wow.
it just was too much. Too many things had happened. And I'm like, I can't stay here. I'll never sleep here. So I'm like, there is a Best Western in this town. Let's go find it. And because I always say Best Westerns aren't haunted. Now, maybe they could be, but they just don't sound like they would be.
Right.
It's kind of like a Super 8. Doesn't ever feel like it's going to be haunted.
No, it just doesn't give that vibe off, does it?
Yeah.
Well, and the reason we were talking about it is we were talking, you are going on vacation on Friday.
Know.
I'm crabbing that I haven't had a vacation since 2018. 2017, 2018. It's been a while.
You are so due. You are so due.
Yeah, I am overdue. But the last vacation I went on was to Mexico, and I visited the ruins in Tulum. And the minute I walked onto the property, I felt something inside me, just a weird sensation that something wasn't right. And as we're doing the tour, and I really didn't do any research about Tulum. I heard it was, historic, blah, blah, blah. But these ruins, people had been sacrificed at like the top of one of the pyramids there. And I could tell you exactly where it happened. You could feel like a vibration as you got closer to it. And as the tour guide was talking, I nudged my husband. I said, something really bad happened right there. I can tell you that. And he just kind of looked at me like, okay, whatever. And the tour guide, like 3 minutes later, said, and that right up there is where the sacrifices took place.
Oh,
and I'm like, I want to get out of here. I was so tuned into it that it nauseated me. Like I was feeling something that was not part of my body. It was so weird.
Oh.
Yeah. Like the fact that I could walk up to this place and go, some really bad shit happened right there. And then 3 minutes later, the tour guide goes, yeah, that's where they killed all the people. Oh, great.
Yeah, that's a little intense. Somebody. And it's like, and this is vacation.
Yeah. No, I wanted to get the hell out of there. Like,
God, no kidding.
We went to a couple of different places around there, and I was just beside myself. I wanted to get back to the property, get me out of here. I need a margarita or something. No, not going to do that again. So I don't think I'm going back to Mexico. No offense, but just too many weird things. It's too historic in sacrifice and things like that. The fact that I could pick up on that really made me uneasy for the rest of the trip. Just, nope, don't I don't want to do this. So,
Well, I am doing some ghost tours and touring a couple haunted locations while I will be in Oregon.
nice.
But that'll be fun because that's kind of what I do on a day-to-day basis is that stuff more than this stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun.
I think that'll be a blast. Well, we are going to take our listeners on vacation to Minot, North Dakota, of all places. Sorry. I did radio in North Dakota for 6 months and I couldn't wait to get out. I grew up for part of my life in South Dakota, so I'm not just bashing North Dakota. I was close in proximity. I'm very well aware of what North Dakota is like, and for those of you who like it, more power to you. It was not my favorite place. I really struggled with a lot of humanity when I worked in North Dakota. I had 2 stalkers when I was in Fargo. One of them smashed up my car and then called me at the radio station and said, "How'd you get to work?"
Oh so, my God. No wonder you left. Jesus.
Yeah. And I literally left within 12 hours of that. I packed up my stuff and got the hell out of there. The guy would call. I worked in a studio that didn't have any windows. The guy would call me and tell me what I was wearing. Yeah. So I have a very slanted view of North Dakota, and my apologies. I'm sure it's a lovely state. I will never go back. So
yeah, I don't blame you.
No, never going back there. This story is about Anita Knutson. She was just 18 years old when she was found dead in her bed in Minot, North Dakota. This was back in 2007. The discovery shocked the quiet college town. Anita, a student at Minot State University, had been stabbed twice in the chest. Her apartment showed no signs of forced entry. No valuables were taken. Just a young woman murdered in her own home and no one to answer for it. Well, the case went cold fast. With limited evidence, no arrest, it sat dormant for 15 years until March 22. That's when the investigation took a sharp turn, thanks to, in part, to Oxygen TV's show Cold Justice. The show had rolled into town looking for answers and apparently helped point investigators back to somebody who'd been close all along. It was Anita's roommate, Nichole Rice, who was known as Nichole Thomas. You know, it's interesting, these docuseries and documentaries that are coming out really seem to point in some amazing directions for justice in some of these cases.
And
we see it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of podcasts doing it too, going back and looking at these cold cases and finding some avenues that never really got properly explored. And I think it's fascinating when it comes back and bites these people in the ass.
As you're about to see. Nichole Rice, who is now 37, has been arrested and charged with Anita's murder. She pleaded not guilty, and now, after all these years, her trial is underway. Opening statements began on March 18th of this year, 2025. The prosecution told the jury that they would lay out clear evidence that Rice killed her roommate in a rage. They argued that the motive was stunningly petty. It was an argument over an alarm clock that kept going off.
Oh my God.
Short little story here. When I first went to college, my first college roommate, she had never left home before. She was valedictorian of her very small high school, a tremendous art student. And she couldn't get out of bed. She had an 8 o'clock class. Her alarm would go off at 7:30. She could not get out of bed. And I didn't have class till 10. And she was hitting the snooze for an hour. And I'm not kidding. An hour she was doing this. So she had already missed class. And the alarm's still going off. And I would like throw things at her like, "Trista, your alarm." I can understand being pissed. I never killed her. She's still alive somewhere.
I'm glad you didn't, or we could be talking about you right now.
Exactly. I can understand the frustration, but don't snap. According to prosecutors, it was the last straw in a very tense living situation. The defense wasn't buying it and made sure that the jury knew it. Rice's attorney, Rick Sand, pushed back hard. He called this theory ridiculous. Siblings, roommates, they fight. There's issues about an unplugged fish tank, about an alarm that wouldn't stop going off. People like Nichole don't kill their roommates over that kind of stuff. They don't put knives through their sternums. The strategy was clear: challenge the evidence, point out the lack of it, and call into question the motives of everybody involved, including the cold justice team. He suggested the case only reignited because TV cameras came to town and the investigators were pressured into making an arrest that didn't hold up. But what turns heads in the trial isn't just the forensic evidence. There's a confession. Two different people have now taken the stand to say that Nichole Rice told them years ago that she actually killed Anita. So first up was Christina Holler. She was a friend of Rice's who testified on Friday, March 21st. According to Holler, Rice confessed during a conversation years ago, saying that she and Anita had fought and that she stabbed her. Holler said it was over, you guessed it, the alarm clock. So she got pissed off about not shutting off your damn alarm clock. And then came William May. He dated Rice briefly and testified that she had made a drunken confession at a party back in 2008. They were sitting on the couch playing video games and somebody brought up Anita's murder. According to May, Rice casually said, I did it. I killed Anita. He testified that Rice later claimed she didn't remember saying it. May said he called police the next day to report what she'd said, but that's where the story gets a bit murky. Sand pointed out that there are no records of that call, none. And May didn't speak with police again, at least not until 2022, after Rice was arrested. So that gap, it's a big problem for the defense. Lack of solid forensic evidence as well. On Thursday, forensic scientist Amy Gebhardt testified about the knife believed to be the murder weapon. DNA was found on it, more than 3 contributors, actually. And because of that, it's impossible to determine exactly whose DNA is on the blade. So the DNA, it's inconclusive. There's no direct physical evidence tying Rice to the crime scene. Just the roommate tension, the alarm clock, and 2 people say that she confessed. The final witness of the week, Michelle Moore, was a classmate of both women, and she testified that Anita and Nichole argued sometimes. But when asked directly if she believed Rice was capable of murder, she said no. So now we've got a trial hanging in the balance, a case that's frozen in time, some cameras. Whether the jury believes those late revelations or sees them as unreliable memories from long ago parties will decide the outcome of a case that has haunted Minot for almost 2 decades. So you think she did it?
I don't think you can say. Because, 2 people said that you said that. I don't think that's enough to convict. The DNA isn't there. Now, she definitely had the proximity to her to have done it since she was a roommate. But I don't know that they can, after all these years, where's the smoking gun?
That's a good question.
Because anybody can say that, like the guy William May, who's like, hey, I heard her say that, but there's no record of him ever reporting that. That could be bad police work on their end. Not saying he didn't call him, but you don't have that to back him up at this point.
No.
So
and
really,
back in 2008, we had, there's good police records back then. If you called 911, they should have a record of that, but maybe, that's 20 some years ago. Well, like 16 years ago. I'm doing my math right, 17 years. Maybe you don't have it still.
And, he might have just gone to the substation, might not have called 911 at all. And then there's no record of it. And then they never followed up. So William's like, well, I told him. So he never reached back out. Why would you?
Right.
I don't know. So where is this? Did it go to the jury or?
Not yet. Not yet.
So they're still in the courtroom?
That's what it sounds like.
Ooh,
Seems like it's been going on for a while.
I want to know. I got to follow this. Because I don't see how they find her guilty.
Especially reminds me a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, not guilty. Not guilty as of 2 hours ago.
Oh, she was found not guilty.
Wow. Yeah. I just looked at an update.
Well, we kind of called that.
Yeah, we did. Our timing of this story was really good. Holy cats.
Because she might have done it for all I know. But there's just not enough evidence, especially all these years later. And they're not going to find anything else at this point.
Not at this point, but who else would have done it? Who else had access? Nobody broke in. Are you just going to go into somebody's house and kill them and not take anything?
I mean, did she maybe bring home someone with her that night? I don't know.
True.
Did they have some friends over that hung around?
It's an interesting point.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions. And maybe, what's the girl who possibly did it? Nichole. Yeah, Nichole. Maybe Nichole didn't know that she even had company that night.
Yeah, it's possible.
Somebody, maybe Anita had a friend over and it happened and Nichole never knew it. Or maybe Nichole did it. But at this point, you can't prove it. Oh, that's so sad. Wow. Because for Anita's family, you want the justice and you want someone to pay for something like that. And now that this has fallen apart, I think their odds of ever figuring it out are very slim to none.
Yeah,
and it would be
I think
so
it's
hard to
now
live with.
Officially a dead case.
Oh, I feel bad for her family. Because at least that would give them some kind of closure. Now they won't get that.
No, it really is an absolute cold case.
And there's someone out there who did it. Maybe it was Nichole. But at this point, Nichole can't be tried again.
No. They could take the Ellen Greenberg route and just say she, did it to herself.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They could try that.
Well, I'll be darned. So not guilty.
Not guilty officially.
You're locked into the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.